Well, Simon, any comments?
What am I supposed to say?
I'm unique.
Oh god, we don't get TV like this anymore. What was going on with American Idol in the early 2000s where getting your big break on TV either meant you were a rising star or the worst singer in the world?
I'm sorry, Steven.
Carry on. Let's take it back to 2002, when American Idol premiered in the United States. It was based on the British show Pop Idol, created by Simon Fuller, and was the perfect mix of entertainment and participation from your couch. And this was a new era for pop culture before social media, where landline telephone voting made you feel like you had a big impact into who became the next big superstar. At its height, American Idol drew in over 30 million viewers from season 5 through season 6. For network TV standards, this is like an every week Super Bowl. And what made it so successful was primarily the chemistry between the three iconic judges. Absolute savage Simon Cowell, kind-hearted Paula Abdul, and lovable Randy Jackson. In every audition episode, our screens were filled with some pretty good singers and some pretty awful ones. And admittedly, it was the bad ones we often watched for.
And why are you here?
I'm here because I want to be the next American Idol.
Oh my god. This girl really thought she was the next American Idol. I mean, why was it always the bad ones that said this? Did the producers slip them a 20 if they said this, just so that we could laugh at them? Singing I Feel the Earth Move by Carole King, Mary Roach made the earth move, and legend has it, it's still moving to this day.
I feel the earth move, falling my feet.
I mean, she self-rated her performance as
Not too shabby.
Marks out of 10?
8.
Mary Roach, yeah, absolute legend.
Oh, darling.
Simon then declared,
One of the worst I've ever heard in my life.
instead of just leaving the stage though, she has her shot with Mark McGrath.
Mark McGrath is a hottie.
Okay, Mary, now we really know why you went to audition. Drink some water. And then she does her own judging of the judges.
All y'all look different in person. I pictured you to be bigger. You're prettier than I thought you were. You look thinner than I thought you were.
They aired this? And by this point, her name is just too good because she's like a roach you just can't get rid of.
Now, I want to say a big to Simon and Randy and Mark McGrath. Even though he's a hottie, I won't deny that.
Seriously, I'm now starting to think that we've been duped and this was just a paid actor, because whatever happened to Mary Roach? I've Googled her name and there's Reddit threads that come up to this day, what happened to Mary Roach? And nobody knows.
Why didn't you realize sooner?
She has disappeared into the void, unless this Instagram account is actually her, where 20 years later, people are still commenting, "You're the worst singer I've ever heard in my life." Seriously? Even after 20 years, we couldn't find a worse singer than her?
That doesn't make me want to pursue any kind of singing career.
I mean, it's not the first or last time someone has been laughed into oblivion. Just look at how America reacted when some lady saw shapeshifters on a plane.
That motherfucker back there is not real.
Plane Lady disappeared for months and then resurfaced with an apology for her bad behavior. And the reaction was like, that's not her. That's artificial intelligence. She's a government plant. Like, imagine having a mental breakdown and people claiming that you're AI because they just can't accept that you didn't see shapeshifters on a plane. It does make you wonder though, did people really go through these lengths just to get on TV? I'm confident the producers screened these auditioners, knew they'd never make it through, but would make for some great TV. I mean, it's a reality show. You gotta have the good and the bad. It's great for ratings, but I don't know. Everyone has some self-awareness into their own singing voice, right? I wasn't 16 years old singing Get Low in the shower and being like, I need to try out for American Idol. Actually, I thought it was pretty decent. Nearly every audition episode had to feature these terrible Delulu contestants. And the angrier, the better.
I don't think that you're a solo singer at all. I think you're
I'm
more...
sorry? I'm quite
quite sure I sing a whole lot better than you do. And for you to tell me I need lessons?
Tamika.
The angrier the contestant, though, the less likely they'd have any chance for stardom.
Tamika, go to an audition where they lie to you. Thank you very much.
Because in the American Idol world, you could actually be a terrible singer and still go on to be an American Idol.
Cheap banks! Cheap banks!
Spoiler alert, William did not make it to Hollywood. What he did get, however, is a literal record deal. Because America was basically like, hey, this guy absolutely sucks, but he's just so sweet and adorable.
William, you did put everything you had into that. I love that you did that.
I didn't.
While Simon called it grotesque,
I mean, everything about it was grotesque.
Oh, stop it.
he went on to a decently successful career as America's most famous bad singer. In fact, in 2004, William sold over 200,000 copies of his debut album, and he placed #1 on Billboard's top independent album charts. What? Because I mean, looking back, it's not even like they auto-tuned this guy. They gave him a record deal basically being like, hey, you suck at singing, but you're gonna make a great gag gif stocking stuffer this holiday season. You in? But you know what? Good for William Hung. The dude cashed in, and apparently now he's kind of been in a joke because in 2022, he returned to the American Idol stage to perform once again his cover hit, She Bangs, further proving that this guy still has a nostalgic chokehold over America. You go, Glenn Coco.
I have no regrets at all.
Since the 2000s, the producers really toned it back on the bad auditions, though. Probably because The Voice premiered and only really showed decent auditions, and we were all like, yeah, maybe we don't actually need to watch artistically delusional contestants on TV anymore. We already do that on TikTok. Speaking of good auditions, though, we can't discredit the fact that the good auditions were a huge factor into the show's success. Kelly Clarkson, you absolute legend, you, with your own little talk show and bop after bop. Carrie Underwood, you country star, you, inspiring every girl in America to be car vandalists. Adam Lambert, you reincarnated Freddie Mercury's soul. Jennifer Hudson, Catherine McPhee, Jordan Sparks, Chris Daughtry. The list goes on and on. So many of the OGs really went on to make a career and name for themselves. And we got to experience it. We got to hear their hit song on the radio. We got to jam out to Since You've Been Gone by Kelly Clarkson. I mean, we still do that today, right? We got to continue supporting them, and what was so cool was that we got to witness and participate in their climb to success. The show's drama, though, really heated up from the top 24 to the top 12. From the semifinals onward, you as an audience member would call in to a toll-free number for up to 2 hours after the episode aired. In the 10th season alone, 750 million votes were casted. This was the most of the show's history. Although every time I called, I would get a freaking busy signal. So who was actually voting and counting these votes? And is this why Diana DeGarmo did not win in season 3?
I'm looking for the 3 people with the lowest number of votes.
We'd go one by one down the stage to see who was in the bottom 3.
Ace, you're in the bottom 3 tonight.
Ooh, that phrase still makes me shiver to this day. Honestly, with how critical this show is, I'm surprised they didn't call it like The Biggest Losers or something. Oh wait, we already had a show like that in the 2000s too. God, we really loved making fun of people on TV.
Some shock in the studio audience. Surprises over there at the judges' table. Booze.
And what's crazy is that after the contestant was voted off, the show would force them to give one last performance. I can be almost certain that they just wanted to go home at this point. Like, sure, I'll give another performance, cry while doing it, and then taunt you and make you feel bad for not voting for me. Joke's on you. I was young when I watched this, ranging from 10 years old to my late teenage years. Okay, I'm still kind of young, right? But I would legitimately cry when some of these contestants were voted off. We became attached to certain contestants as if they were friends of ours, and watching them be banished from the show was low-key traumatic. Like, I can remember throwing the remote at the TV once, running up to my bedroom and slamming a door and crying, and then showing up to 5th grade the next day, being like, I don't want to talk to anyone today. I lost a friend yesterday. I mean, I couldn't have been the only one, right? It's crazy to think back in a day, America would either be torn or united based on this freaking show. Nowadays, we all hate each other because of our polarized political views, but back in those days, you judged each other and looked at each other differently based on who you voted for on American Idol. American Idol is no longer the only singing competition on TV, right? Artists are being discovered organically on Spotify and TikTok and Instagram, so who is really winning this show and going on to become American Idols anymore? Because these days, our American Idols are social media stars who get canceled every day. Please, we need someone to look up to again. I mean, who else is going to inspire us to dig the keys into our ex's pretty little cooped up four-wheel drive? Okay, besides Taylor Swift. Today, while American Idol is still airing, why did it get canceled and then rebooted after a year again? We are missing the connectivity we all had to this show that completely captivated the nation. Nowadays, though, the show is basically a sap fest. It's less about who can sing and instead who can have the sappiest backstory. It's almost like this show is trying to self-correct itself from all of the bullying and nastiness it did back in the day, that now it just feels like a bunch of ingenuine positivity. I mean, can you even get on this show anymore if you don't have some sort of tragedy and trauma in your life? What made American Idol so good in the early days is that it really captivated us into believing that this is how you become a star, and we're gonna help you do that. It was a realistic depiction of how brutal Hollywood is, and let's be real, it is. But these days are long gone. We're no longer solely captivated by the top 12 anymore, because there's just so much to watch and scroll through nowadays. I mean, can we talk about The Masked Singer for a second? Sure, it's entertaining, but after a while, the novelty kind of wears off, right? At the end of each episode, you have to ask yourself, did I just spend an hour watching Tyra Banks scream on stage and walk around dressed as Walking Lips? What is this show? Do I at least get to see Ryan Seacrest dramatically send her home? Please. I don't think we'll ever see a cultural phenomenon quite like American Idol again, though. This is the show that was so chaotically entertaining. It was a time before we instead became cringy ourselves on social media. So now, be your own judge and leave me a comment below. But be nice. It's not the 2000s anymore. If I were to self-rate myself, though, I'd say not too shabby. Maybe an 8 out of 10. Oh, American Idol. You gotta love those days.